Welcome to another reading from the book The Ministry of Healing by Ellen G. White. So in part 1 of chapter 1, we read how Jesus Christ came to this world as a tireless servant of humanity's needs. He bore our sicknesses, carried our burdens, and brought complete restoration, physically, mentally, and spiritually. His compassion knew no bounds. Whether by the seashore, in the city streets, or in quiet villages, he ministered to all who came to him. We also saw how his life was one of constant self-sacrifice. Though unrecognized by many, Jesus walked patiently among the people, offering healing, hope, and the invitation, "Come unto me." Now, let's continue with part 2 of chapter 1, our example. He attended the great yearly festivals of the nation, and to the multitude absorbing outward ceremony, he spoke of heavenly things, bringing eternity within their view. To all, he brought treasures from the storehouse of wisdom. He spoke to them in language so simple that they could not fail of understanding. By methods peculiarly his own, he helped all who were in sorrow and affliction. With tender, courteous grace, he ministered to the sin-sick soul, bringing healing and strength. The Prince of Teachers, he sought access to the people by the pathway of their most familiar associations. He presented the truth in such a way that ever after it was to his hearers intertwined with their most hallowed recollections and sympathies. He taught in a way that made them feel the completeness of his identification with their interest and happiness. His instruction was so direct, his illustrations were so appropriate, his words so sympathetic and cheerful that his hearers were charmed. The simplicity and earnest with which he addressed the needy followed every word. What a busy life he led. Day by day, he might have been seen entering the humble abodes of want and sorrow, speaking hope to the downcast and peace to the distressed. Gracious, tender-hearted, pitiful, he went about lifting up the bowed down and comforting the sorrowful. Wherever he went, he carried blessing. While he ministered to the poor, Jesus studied also to find ways of reaching the rich. He sought the acquaintance of the wealthy and cultured Pharisee, the Jewish nobleman, and the Roman ruler. He accepted their invitations, attended their feast, made himself familiar with their interests and occupations, that he might gain access to their hearts and reveal to them the imperishable riches. Christ came to this world to show that by receiving power from on high, man can live an unsullied life. With unwearied patience and sympathetic helpfulness, he met men in their necessities. By the gentle touch of grace, he banished from the soul unrest and doubt, changing enmity to love and unbelief to confidence. He could say to whom he pleased, "Follow me," and the one addressed arose and followed him. The spell of the world's enchantment was broken. At the sound of his voice, the spirit of greed and ambition fell from the heart, and men arose, emancipated, to follow the Savior. Christ recognized no distinction of nationality or rank or creed. The scribes and Pharisees desired to make a local and national benefit of the gifts of heaven and to exclude the rest of God's family in the world. But Christ came to break down every wall of partition. He came to show that his gift of mercy and love is as unconfined as the air, the light, and the showers of rain that refresh the earth. The life of Christ established a religion in which there is no caste, a religion by which Jew and Gentile, free and bond, are linked in a common brotherhood, equal before God. No question of policy influences movements. He made no difference between neighbors and strangers, friends and enemies. That which appealed to his heart was a soul thirsting for the waters of life. He passed by no human being as worthless, but sought to apply the healing remedy to every soul. In whatever company he found himself, he presented a lesson appropriate to the time and the circumstances. Every neglect or insult shown by men to their fellow men only made him more conscious of their need of his divine human sympathy. He sought to inspire with hope the roughest and most unpromising, setting before them the assurance that they might become blameless and harmless, attaining such a character as would make them manifest as the children of God. Often he met those who had drifted under Satan's control, who had no power to break from his snare. To such a one, discouraged, sick, tempted, fallen, Jesus would speak words of tenderest pity, words that were needed and could be understood. Others he met who were fighting a hand-to-hand battle with the adversary of souls. These he encouraged to persevere, assuring them that they would win, for angels of God were on their side and would give them the victory. At the table of the publicans, he sat as an honored guest, by his sympathy and social kindliness, showing that he recognized the dignity of humanity, and men longed to become worthy of his confidence. Upon their thirsty hearts, his words filled with blessed life-giving power. New impulses were awakened, and to these outcasts of society were opened the possibility of a new life. Though he was a Jew, Jesus mingled freely with the Samaritans, setting at naught the Pharisaic customs of his nation. In face of their prejudices, he accepted the hospitality of this despised people. He slept with them under their roofs, ate with them at their tables, partaking of the food prepared and served by their hands, taught in their streets, and treated them with the utmost kindness and courtesy. And while he drew their hearts to him by the tie of human sympathy, his divine grace brought to them the salvation which the Jews rejected. Christ neglected no opportunity of proclaiming the gospel of salvation. Listen to his wonderful words, that one woman of Samaria. He was sitting by Jacob's well as the woman came to draw water. To her surprise, he asked a favor of her. "Give me to drink," he said. He wanted a cool draught, and he wished also to open the way whereby he might give to her the water of life. "How is it," said the woman, "that thou, being a Jew, askest drink of me, which am a woman of Samaria? For the Jews have no dealings with the Samaritans." Jesus answered, "If thou knewest the gift of God, and who it is that saith to thee, Give me to drink, thou wouldest have asked of him, and he would have given thee living water. Whosoever drinketh of this water shall thirst again, but whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst. But the water that I shall give him shall be in him a well of water springing up into everlasting life." John chapter 4, verses 7 to 14. How much interest Christ manifested in this one woman. How earnest and eloquent were his words. When the woman heard them, she left her water pot and went into the city, saying to her friends, "Come see a man which told me all things that I ever did. Is not this the Christ? We read that many of the Samaritans of that city believed on him. Verses 29 and 39. And who can estimate the influence which these words have exerted for the saving of souls in the years that have passed since? Wherever hearts are open to receive the truth, Christ is ready to instruct them. He reveals to them the Father and the service acceptable to him who reads the heart. For such he uses no parables. To them, as the woman at the well, he says, I that speak unto thee am he. This brings us to the end of chapter 1, our example from the ministry of healing. What a powerful reminder of the life Christ lived, a life filled with compassion, humility, and purpose. He met people where they were, in sorrow, in sickness, in sin, and he lifted them up with love and truth. As we close this chapter, I'd love to hear from you. What stood out to you the most? Was there a sentence or a principle that touched your heart? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. And let's continue encouraging one another as we walk this path of healing together. Until next time, may the example of Christ draw us closer to him, and may his life become the pattern of ours.